Oh, it's just you. Don't worry, it's David. I'm glad you could make it for this episode of the writing show. Things are getting serious. Today, we're united by a common enemy. Writer's block. Let's start by knowing the enemy. Writer's block is whenever we hit a wall, or just don't know how to get from here to there in our creative works. There's a whole host of ways writer's block can try to stop us, and we're going to eradicate every last one of them. First things first, give laziness the boot. We don't have time for that shit. So get that over-romantic notion of pure perfection flowing flawlessly onto the page out of your head, cause it's a crock of schlock. Writing is rewriting. It's a lot of work, but get excited about it and it'll come easier. Just do it! Now that we've whipped all those lily-livered lazy writers into shape, let's get to know our allies. Know your characters. Characters are the heart of our stories. We need to know our characters like the back of our hand. What's that? You should know where they come from and how that affects who they are, and also how the plot can lead them to who they'll become. If you need inspiration for character quirks or mannerisms, it makes for a great people-watching experience. You can steal, borrow, the parts that you like for your characters. The same can be said for the setting. Original details can add realism to your world and characters. You could also explore your characters through free writing, or writing backwards. You can learn a lot about your characters in the span of only a couple sentences. For example, Carlos considered breaking up with his girlfriend. Blue balls, why would Carlos do such a thing? Well, let's work backwards to find out. Things hadn't been going well lately, so Carlos considered breaking up with his girlfriend. Okay, that's understandable, but let's do even more work and figure out exactly why. Things weren't going well lately, so Carlos considered breaking up with his girlfriend. Because he found out she was an evil succubus. Oh, well, now that Carlos is single and not salty anymore, he can join us in taking inspiration from other people's work. Watch movies, watch TV, read books, listen to music. Now, I'm not saying you should plagiarize, only draw inspiration from a wide variety of sources. Pay attention to other people's characters, and why you like them. Now that we know our characters, we've got to break bad habits. Sometimes we can get stuck in the same old habits. That's why it's important to change things up every now and again. This change of scenery could be exactly what you needed to get you into the zone. Try writing in coffee shops, libraries, outside, wherever else you like. You can also try changing your writing process some. Everyone's processes are different, so this could mean writing in the morning instead of at night, or even handwriting a few chapters before heading to the keyboard. Changing things up can often lead to the long-awaited breakthrough that's been eluding us. Know what's next. The enemy's on the horizon. Outlining can help greatly in surpassing writer's block. But if you're like me and that old outline isn't cutting it anymore, and you just don't know how to get from here to there in the plot, I like to try changing to another character's point of view. Not only can this help spur new plot points, but it can be a great way to get to know your characters. You don't have to use these sections in the final story, but it's important to remember that your supporting characters don't cease to exist when they're not on the page. If, for whatever reason, you can't switch or it's just not working for you, just skip it. When you're stuck on a scene, skip it. You can always come back and fill in the plot holes later. That's what editing's for. Now that we know all that, we need to remember not to be paralyzed by perfectionism. One of the biggest ways I run into writer's block is by setting my expectations too high. It's understandable to want to compare yourself to the bestsellers, but not even they write golden first drafts. We have to allow ourselves the room to write shitty first drafts. A great way to cut through the perfectionist internal editor is by doing word sprints. Just set a timer and go. Don't stop writing, don't go back for errors. Where I sometimes go wrong is by comparing myself to others. When I do, I have to remember to stop, check my goals, and track my progress toward them. Because the only person you should ever compare yourself to is your past self. Well, I hope you've gained the skills you need to defeat your writer's block once and for all. If there are any reasons I missed, let me know down in the comments. I'll make a follow-up so that way we can make sure writer's block is dead for good. Until next time, write on.